good afternoon. You join us here in Wales today, where, of course, we have triggered Article 50 to leave the European Union. Wales, incidentally, I was here on the day that we voted to leave back in June, and here 52.5% of people voted for a Brexit. So they wanted to leave, and today that is certainly happening. Now, I should say, here in Wales, they get, along with Cornwall, West Wales and the Valleys, the most subsidiaries and grants from the European Union because they are classed as a more developing area, a poorer area. And so it is quite surprising, perhaps, that people wanted to leave because they are a net beneficiary of the European Union. Now, the First Minister here, Carwyn Jones, has spoken out today. He said that he understands that Brexit is happening, but he wants the best deal possible for Wales, both in terms of economically, financially, and, of course, for people who live and work here. He says if that doesn't happen, he will make his voice heard. Over the past few months, he has said that Theresa May, he doesn't believe she has any interest in Wales, and he found it easier dealing with David Cameron. But I should say we are in a beautiful cafe here today in the heart of Cardiff, and I'm just going to bring in Lucas, who is the owner here, and he is originally from Poland. Thank you so much for joining us today. What are your thoughts then? Today is the day, many people calling it Brexit Day. Are you happy? I presume not.
No, I'm not at all.
What impact will this have on you?
If things are the worst case scenario, obviously we are asked to leave, which I hope does not happen, and I don't think it will happen. And the other dangers from an economical point of view, as we are running a business that focuses a lot on Polish influences, and we're a florist as well, all of our products or things that we sell come from the European Union, flowers mainly. And so that will affect us in the long run because we don't know what the prices of flowers will be like come at the end of negotiations, and we just don't know what the impact will be on the prices and on the business as a whole.
So it could go up. How long have you been in the United Kingdom, and how long have you run this business?
My partner and I, we've had the business for 4 years, and in this particular location for the last 2 years, and we've been in Britain for over 11 years now.
So it's a long time. You set your home up here, and since we voted to leave the EU, you were telling me earlier you've had, some pretty nasty comments and experiences. Is that right?
That's correct, and luckily just a handful of them. Basically, silly comments saying, "Well, we should pack and get the hell out of here." But they were only a few. As upsetting they are. We just disregard them because there's no point. You can't change people like that. On the other hand, just after the Brexit happened, we had people bringing us chocolates, bottles of vodka, and apologising for the nation. So I think whatever nasty comments we had, they were hugely outweighed by the kindness and understanding of people who voted to stay.
And can you see, I want to put both sides of the story across, why people wanted to leave, and many people saying that they want to be patriotic and reclaim Great Britain?
I don't think that is a valid reason. I think, as we all know, coming back to Brexit, it wasn't explained well enough. People did not know what they were voting, or they were made believe they were voting for something that really were not. When it comes to regaining control, and we know all how complex these things are, and talking about immigrants, Britain has been built on cooperation with other nations and has always been enriched by Britain getting things from history. Britain has only gained from being connected to other countries, and for future it would be the same case, I think.
Thank you very much. Might come back to you in a minute. As I say, I'm in Lucas's cafe here today. I've got some questions coming in. Please do keep those questions coming in. Gary is asking, Whether we think there could be any movement for a referendum of independence here, of course we've seen that in Scotland they want a second independence referendum. I don't think that would happen here. It would be very unlikely in case things went very badly wrong. But of course Theresa May certainly needs friends in the devolved nations at the moment. She hasn't really got them in Scotland, as we've seen. Carwyn Jones has been pretty critical in the past, saying he doesn't think she has any interest in Wales. But he seems to have softened in the last couple of months. Theresa May has visited Wales and certainly building up contacts there. Keep your questions coming in, especially if you're Welsh, seeing as that's where we are today. Tim is asking, why do you think Welsh voters voted to leave? Well, I was mentioning earlier, you know, it's rather strange given that they are a net beneficiary of the European Union, the United Kingdom from elsewhere. Other people saying that they're concerned about terrorism and securing our borders. So a variety of issues, as we've seen up and down the country, really, and certainly in the centre of Cardiff today, even though you've heard from Lucas there, who very much is opposed to leaving the European Union, lots of people celebrating and lots of people saying to me, happy Brexit Day. So for many people, they are just happy that we are getting on with it. Got lots of questions incoming here. Dan is asking if many leavers are beginning to regret their vote. I don't know, Dan. I mean, some people have certainly expressed concerns about some of the facts that were given during the time of the campaign, and when Vote Leave were putting various figures out there, it's now turned out that many of those were not factually correct. I'm not sure, I'm sure lots of people are commenting on Facebook, I'm not sure whether you regret your decision. Plenty of people, though, are sticking by their guns and I think are just very happy that we are leaving the European Union and happy to get on with things. I'm very conscious, I should show you around this cafe, maybe chat to a few different people. Good. Are you happy about that?
Not at all. I think it's a very, very sad day for the UK.
So you're a no voter. It's quite surprising because here in Wales, so many people voted to leave.
Which is astonishing when you think how much money Wales has had from the EU in structural funds. It's astonishing to me that people voted to leave. I'm a solid Remainer and I always will be. I think the saddest thing of all is that young people in the future just won't have the same freedoms that we've enjoyed to move around Europe, to live and work there if we want to. I think the older generation has robbed the younger generation of all those opportunities.
But why do you think people did vote to leave here in Wales?
I think that immigration has dominated the whole agenda. But I think the other thing is that during the course of the Brexit campaign, we were lied to about £350 million a week coming back into the NHS. I think that was a campaign based on lies.
Thank you very much. Nice to speak to you. Got some more questions coming in here. Sam's asking what Leave campaigners' plans are for post-Brexit Wales. Will they get the same level of funding? Well, Carwyn Jones has said that he is concerned that jobs will go once we leave the European Union, but he wants free trade deals, and of course that's something that will begin once the negotiations start. I think it's on farmers because in Wales and of course across the southwest of England there is a huge farming community, and I think there are a lot of concerns about whether these EU grants will continue. Clearly if we leave the EU that will have to be debated. Let's go for a little wander. Let's see if we can find some Vote Leave people. I'm not sure if we can. Let's pop over to this table here. Sorry to interrupt you mid-sandwich. Not a good moment, was it? How did you vote, if you don't mind me asking, in the referendum?
Well, I voted Remain.
You're a Remain as well. See, I'm trying to find people that have voted Leave.
I mean, it sort of was a bit of a no-brainer for me, I thought, but on a personal level, I want to work in Europe, and I've studied there. Lots of friends who are European. It just doesn't seem like, just doesn't seem sensible to separate ourselves. So it was an easy vote for me, unfortunately. And
now that we have triggered Article 50, do you kind of think, well, we need to get on with it and make the best of, well, in your terms, what you would consider a bad situation?
No, I think I think we have to pull back from the brink, personally. I don't see it politically as going to be a very likely thing to happen, but the terms of the referendum were very unclear. The vote was an incredibly tiny margin. I'm sure that I feel like there's a lot of scope to renegotiate that. I don't see any hope for it on the political landscape, but I will just move to Germany.
Are you from Wales?
I was born in England, but I'm half Welsh.
Would you like to see independence for Wales?
I don't know about that. I think I'd like to see more decentralisation from Westminster of power and federalisation of the UK. I think a reimagining of how we do politics here would be amazing, because it's a bit outdated. But yeah, I don't know about that.
And you will actually move to Germany?
Or Belgium, possibly. I studied in Belgium. I think about going back there. But yes, I think within a year that would be my plan. Yeah.
But why? What if we do well? What if we secure trade deals? What if, it turns out being a good thing?
Just on a personal level, my work is opera, and I want to be able to work in Europe where there is more of it. So that would be why.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks for your views. Enjoy your sandwich. Sorry to interrupt you. Thank you so much for all the questions. I've got more coming in. Chris is asking, were the demographics for Leave supporters similar to the rest of the UK? I think across the UK it's been very similar. We've seen the older generation very much tended to vote Leave. We saw in places like London, people wanted to remain, but certainly here in Wales, it was 52.5% of voters who wanted Brexit. And even though here today you are seeing people who wanted to remain, I can tell you, having walked across many of the streets in the centre of the city today, lots of people telling me that they are pleased that they are finally getting on with it and they do want to leave the European Union. Mark is asking if Leave voters really expect Westminster to make up for the lost EU investment. Well, that's a very good question, Mark. We will have to wait and see. Thank you so much for joining us from Cardiff on this Facebook Live. Thank you ever so much for all your questions. Of course, there is the huge coverage Sky News today of the triggering of Article 50. Do stay tuned to all of that. We've got all the latest online as well on our live blog. You can keep up to date with all the latest updates. Thanks very much for joining us.
Brexit, Brexit, Brexit. I know what the people in here say about it, but it's time to get out of Westminster. I'll be on the road all over the country, finding out what Brexit means to you.
But we go deeper, getting on top of the economic effects
and assessing the upshot for the markets,
both globally and here at home.
We'll have the latest on all the negotiations here in Brussels and analyse the wider impact on UK politics.
Brexit, from every angle, on Sky News.